the good stuff
All
from
the
high
good stuff
school.
that they need to know, right?
Absolutely. And so, yeah, so we are excited and excited to be here.
All right, awesome. All right, well, let's talk about this, Jay. Exploring careers before college and before choosing a major, right? That seems to be like the disconnect among students, families, parents. Let's go to college. I'm not saying everybody, but it happens often, right?
Yeah, it's something that I think COVID-19, the COVID pandemic changed a lot of this and really put into the minds, whether it's negative or positive, this whole notion of, well, is college really worth it? And if so, what route do I go, and how much money do I spend on college, and how much do I save, and all
Yep.
these different variables. And I always say, hey, when looking back on your life and the trajectory and basically the money you make, it's given. The statistics prove it. When you go to college, and I get it, it's not for everyone, but the national average statistics are in favor of those that go to college and attend college, and it's just not about the career major. It's about the experiences you get, the networking, the obviously the internship, the careers, all of the different variables within college that obviously make up this whole experience,
Yeah.
lifetime experience that you get while you attend college. And so, once again, the statistics prove that those that uh, those that attend college and then receive their bachelor's degree and master's degree, and even further, make more than those that don't. And in terms of salary and lifetime salary, and that doesn't mean it's 100%. Doesn't mean if you don't go to college you can't be successful. Sometimes I always say take a gap year to understand and realize what you actually want to do, instead of wasting money when you don't know what you want to do. So it's more, we go over that here at Elite Scholars Prep. So I always say, hey, you have a passion for something, you want to pursue something, college, and obviously experience the college life, and improve your life situations, and you have a passion for something, yes, pursue college. And we help, obviously, families do that.
But I think, Dre, I think we agree. You talked about it. I've been there a few times. You've been there a few times. You're now
Yeah,
going to work on, you're working on your doctorate.
yeah,
There is value. Let's just cut to the chase, right? Statistically speaking, there's definitely 100% value in going to college. I see with who joined us, Mr. C. He works in admissions as well. So,
yeah,
good guy, great resource as well. And thanks for joining. Jay, let's just go over a few things that would lead up to
yeah.
possibly one deciding on their major. And if anybody disagrees, please chime in. We're open to discussion here. But let's talk about job shadowing. What does that mean? Let's start there. In your definition, what does job shadowing mean from a high school student perspective?
Yeah, it's just observing professionals, in their real world work environment, and I love to give a story that I love. I was in sixth grade. I did a job shadow of the police academy, and at the time I thought I'd wanted to be a police officer, and that quickly changed. I think 15 minutes within the ride. I was in the passengers. And it was so cool. I actually rode with someone who I knew, and I quickly realized this isn't what I wanted to do, and and I learned so much more respect about police officers and what they have to deal with each and every day, and putting their life on the line. And
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
yeah, you know what? I'm like, even though I really enjoyed the experience, I realized, and it reinforced to me, hey, you know what? I want to shift paths here, and that's okay. And so,
But you have to do it. Here's to my example.
absolutely,
Okay, listen.
absolutely,
I go. I,
absolutely,
I did the job shadowing, and I was two extremes. Here we go. So my dad was in the elevator union,
okay,
right?
yeah,
100% blue collar, had a great run. I don't know, 25, 30 years. As we know, they get paid a lot, great benefits, hard work. But my passion was to be something like a newscaster, a broadcaster in front
yeah,
of the camera, right? I always loved that. I used to write once I did the local weatherman
yeah,
in my area, and he wrote me back handwritten note.
yeah,
But so to your point, I job shadowed both the elevator union. I actually tried it for 6 months, and then I was able to land some work in the TV field. But you talk about two different extremes from a job shadowing
Yep.
perspective that made me decide that, wow, I respect the elevator, the trades, but that's just not me,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
Right.
on the same token, if you want to go into the broadcasting field, good chance and you should pursue a college education.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Absolutely. And I love that example. And I always say, sixth grade's a good, you're 12 or 13, you're not that old, but you're still trying to figure things out. And then I always say around your freshman, sophomore year, do it again. And especially if you have a good grasp on what you want to do, which I still didn't at that point, and that's okay. But, I feel like you should do 2 to 3 job shadows in high school, and they can be many, and so once again, I did my job shadow, uh, when I was in sixth grade. So I was like 12 or 13. And like I said, I enjoyed the experience. It reinforced me what I didn't want to do. And it was a simple fact that, geez, you know, uh, obviously putting your life on the line each and every day, and the risks that are involved. And even though I love talking to people, you got to have that ability to, give tickets and hey, be careful, things like that. I just, even though I was a personal person, still am, it just wasn't the choice I wanted to pursue. And that's okay. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have known. The other one, I give the example I give is, right now working with us, working with family, and she's looking to get into nursing. So maybe you job shadow a hospital,
yeah.
and in terms of, connecting with the staff and learning about the healthcare industry,
But hang on a minute.
so
So
yeah,
what about those? And that's all great. The nursing example is great.
yep,
You're highly motivated. I'm motivated. But there are people that are not like, who think like us or others, right? And I
right,
don't mean it that way specifically. But my point is, what if a student who's really interested in the field, we'll stick with nursing, but
yeah,
is shy, right? They're shy. They don't know. I wouldn't say they don't know, but what are the steps to help them get to that hospital to figure out if they can job shadow? Because my point is, there's a lot of phone calls, a
yep,
lot of
yep.
naysayers, voicemails, emails not returned. So it kind of gets, you know, exhausting.
Yeah, yeah, and first thing, some job shadowing experiences last 6 months. Some are like summer. I always encourage students. I get it over the summer. You want to have a summer. However, I always say think ahead. And usually in the summer, and it can be it can be weekend hours as well. And so I always say start a little small. Maybe it's weekend hours. Gain that traction, get your feet wet, so to speak.
Yeah.
And usually with a job shadow, you're just shadowing a little bit. It's not quite an internship. It kind of is, but it's not as much intensity as is probably the right word to say, and responsibilities. You're just shadowing, maybe someone that, maybe it's an LPN or an RPN, and so you're just shadowing what they do, daily responsibilities. Maybe it's 4 or 5 hours throughout the day, and you're just gaining that experience, and really more importantly, reinforcing to you
Get out there. Get
why
out there.
get out
And that's
there
part
why
of the
you want to
learning
do it.
curve, I think, Jay, is to up your communication skills, right? You got to go out there
Yep.
and reach out to those folks. All right, let's talk about career fairs. A
Yep.
little lackluster, in my opinion, depending on how it's set up. But is there value in career fairs?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we do, I know at our institution, we do 2 or 3 career fairs throughout the year. So we try to do 1 or 2 a semester. Some colleges do more. And it doesn't just have to be a college. It can be, high schools, obviously. It can be local organizations in your town. But these are huge. And I always encourage students, take advantage of these and go with your parents. You don't have to, but these just help students explore, opportunities.
What is a student getting out of that specifically? So you go to a career fair.
Yep.
Like, what typically is the format? What are they getting out of it? What should they get out of it?
Yep.
I'm assuming it's tables, booths, right?
Yep. And so they basically get to speak right to directly to professionals, and recruiters. A lot of times the company will have recruiters or their own professionals there to talk, usually two or three. Sometimes it's one, but to talk with prospective employees and looking to get into, nursing, to marketing, to business, to, sport management, to coaching, to, so many wide range,
Yeah.
of careers that are out there. And so they learn about just the majors and the industries, obviously the responsibilities of the job, the company itself. And this is a great chance for students to network and learn the power of networking.
Here's
I
what I
remember,
did. Yeah,
yeah,
here's what I did. When I
yep,
ran the a couple career fairs, I, I'm trying to add the value. So what I did was, if we're talking about schools specifically, have through the administration, the
yeah,
guidance counselors, who was helping me, I told them exactly what vendors, what exhibitors will be there, but I
yep,
more importantly had them prepare the students to formulate a list of questions so that when they walked
yep,
in, they know they wanted to go over to the criminal justice
yep,
maybe slash police department booth table and ask them the questions rather than walk up, hey, how are you? Hey,
right.
with no
Absolutely.
agenda.
Absolutely. It's prepared and actually that's great that you're making conversation. I always say you're connecting classroom experience to real world experience. In order to do that, you have to have questions. And so formulating questions. And once again, it's networking. It's showing that you are aspiring to work in this specific career.
What about internships in high school? Hey, I even think like a quote internship, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people don't think really understand the word internship, although it sounds pretty self-explanatory. But even middle school, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
you were young.
Yeah.
High school, even college.
Absolutely.
But let's just stick with the high school
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah. So internships are so valuable. And I think there's some confusion with internships and students realize or understanding the fact that and I know I'm just going to give a quick example of college, but and I'm going to relate it to high school. But students, usually at the college level, you have to take most programs have it where by your senior year or during your senior year, you have to take one internship, and if you to graduate. And so, but what a lot of students don't understand is they can do as many internships as they want before that. They're just not going to get academic credit. They won't get usually the typical 3 credit hours or 120, that you have to get, throughout that internship. So a lot of students realize, oh, I'm just going to do one, which is okay. You graduate. However, what they don't realize is their counterparts, and my experience was I did 4, and so
Wow.
3, and then plus the one that I had to do. So I always tell students, hey, just because you only have to do one your senior year, usually it's your senior year, that doesn't mean you can't do as many as you want. You're just not gonna you're not gonna get credit for it. You'll get the experience, which is just as good. And
Yeah, but
so,
hang on. So
yep,
if you're in college, like, and I ran into this, oh
yeah,
gosh, a major university down in Washington D.C. I won't say the name,
yep,
but and now this was for a master's program, but let's just go stick with the bachelor's. If
yeah,
there are not internships available and you are hitting walls all the time, right? And your time is ticking in the program and you're a
hmm,
sponge, you want to get out there. What can a student do to be proactive? And not only in college, Jay, but even high school. What can they do to
right.
be proactive?
Right. Well, there are so many job boards out there, and that we go over this as well. Job boards. There are and here's the other thing. Students think students think that, and this is the way I was thinking too. So I'm there with you. Students think the internships that are available are only made public, that are only like online and things like that, or they see a flyer for it. You'd be so surprised how many internships aren't advertised that actually can be internships. And I find this I just had this with a couple students on campus last month, or 3 months ago before they had to get it in the last semester, spring semester, and they finished a couple weeks ago. And so now, obviously, technically, you don't want to wait that long, but they didn't realize how many internships are out there that aren't advertised. It's the same thing with jobs. so many jobs and so many internships that aren't advertised, but you can use as an internship.
All
And
right,
so,
Jay. Listen,
and so that's a
since we're
big
on,
part. That's a big
you
part.
know this already. We talked about it before, but since we're in this
Yeah.
form of TikTok, I'm going to share my Super Bowl internship story. You remember,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're in the sports marketing field with what
Yep.
you do with your teaching. So everybody out there, my internship experience was, to piggyback off what I said before, is I didn't have internships available that I needed, that I wanted. So I called the Super Bowl,
Yep.
which at that time was down in New Orleans, and I got transferred a few times, to a different few people. And the gentleman I finally reached out to or connected with me, I told him, hey, listen, I'm passionate about sports. I need an internship. I don't know if I said I need an internship because that sounds wrong, but I try to express the value, right, in my interest.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And he laughed. He goes, "You're just calling me now, and you want to come down and do an internship?" I'm like, "Yep." So long story short, we get through all that, and I don't want to hold him up because I know he's busy. He's like, "All right, come on down." So I was living in the Northern Virginia area. He's like, "Come on down. We'll have you do X, Y, and Z for a week, and then at the end, Super Bowl Sunday, you can go your merry way." So I hung up the phone. I was excited. Then I thought, wow, where am I going to stay? Right? I don't have a lot of money. So my buddy in the program, I called him and told him my excitement. He's like, oh, dude, get me involved. I'm like, I can't do that. He's like, well, if he allows me to come down with you, my girlfriend's father is an attorney down in New Orleans, and we can stay with him. I'm like, oh,
Right.
this is sounding good, right?
Yeah.
So I called the guy back, and he goes, "You're kidding me, right? Now you want to bring somebody?" I'm like, "But here's why." And he was cool, but here's the end of the story. You just never know, Jay, right?
Right.
So at the end of my internship, we won't get into the specifics. Super Bowl Sunday, shook hands, made a connection. Thank you.
Yep.
It gives me a lanyard. And you've been
Yep.
to Super Bowls?
Yep. Connections you make. Yeah.
Right. Gives me a lanyard and says, "Here's your ticket. You can stay for the Super Bowl."
Yeah. Yep. That is awesome.
Right.
It's so cool. And it's all about calling. It's all about trying, and that wasn't average. You just called. And so that's what I tell students all the time is, don't expect, every internship or every possibility that you want to be just advertised, because there are so many that aren't advertised. And just going to your example of just, you're being passionate. Let's call. Let's do some of this work, and see where it goes. And I think that's the essence of what an internship is all about is, hey, putting it all together and calling, whether it's going through loophole after loophole, you get to talk to people, and you really, you feel gratified really after the whole experience, because it started at a phone conversation.
Yeah.
So
here's one bump, Jay. Here's one bump to this internship thing that I see, and you tell me if you think differently, because you're more in the trenches than I am with this, I think. So I don't know if it's the entitlement piece, but the paid versus not paid internship.
Yep. That's a great question. Yeah. I always tell students, assume internships are going to be unpaid. If they're paid, added bonus, and so that's, that's the best way to put it. The other point that I want to highlight to you is, and our audience here is, a lot of students just assume we as advisors or we have one lined up for students. Now we will help guide, but we want you, the student, to obviously, figure out what you want to do. And then we're there with you, guiding you, but we want you to call. We want you to, because every job isn't just going to be, hey, internship A or internship here, internship here. Sometimes you have to dig for it like you did. Sometimes you have to come up with, what do I want to do? You know what? I don't see an internship that's on their website. I'm just going to call and ask. And you'd be amazed how many internship opportunities come from that, and I tell students, the worst they can say is no, but there's so many students I've had where they call with an internship not being advertised, and it led to an internship. So it's doing the work, it's finding your passion, and going with it.
I would find extreme value as an employer if somebody called me
absolutely
with the drive and the initiative. I
Yep.
truly would, and you agree.
Yep. Absolutely.
Let's talk about right? Not paid volunteer opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something I'm going to first say this because it's so important. Um, I didn't do this, and I should have when I was in high school. And so I encourage so many students to do this because having volunteer experience on your resume looks great when you're applying for jobs, applying for grad school, obviously your future job. It looks great because you're volunteering. Now, I didn't do it because I didn't care and didn't want to do it. It seemed like a lot of times on the weekends when you do volunteer, it doesn't mean you can't during the week. But I did a lot of travel, or I did a lot of sports on the weekends, things like that. So that's really my excuse. I still probably had time to volunteer, but I always tell students make time for this because believe me, admissions looks at this. Even if they say they don't, this and that, it means a lot. It means that you are representing a company and you're putting your own time without getting paid,
Yep.
to do good for someone or something. And so volunteer experience, I can't stress that enough. It can be just a couple hours. It can be 3 hours. It can be, ringing the bell at the Salvation Army, during Christmas time. It shows so much value and it holds so much value, not just during that time when you're doing it, but down the road when you're applying for jobs, you're applying for grad school, whatever it is. Believe me, this comes in handy.
But it also makes you feel good, right? You're doing something
Absolutely.
for somebody else.
Absolutely.
But build the pipeline. Don't wait until
Yes.
you're getting ready to graduate high school. Condition yourself to do it early. Just give back,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but listen, it doesn't have to be right anything related to your major.
Right. Right. Absolutely. It could be, it could be just like I said, volunteering during Christmas time, ringing the bell at the Salvation Army. It could also, maybe it's coaching. You know nothing about the sport, but no one else can coach your friend's team or whatever the case may be, and you're just coaching 4-year-old soccer team, and it's just, hey, it's showing up, it's showing that you're doing it, and little things like that go a long way past that. Like I always say, during the admissions process, during application process, it holds weight.
Yeah. What about informational interviews?
Yeah, so I love this one because interviews to me are essential, and you're seeing more interviews in the admissions process. I know we do them in our institution, and especially in grad school. We talked about this in one of our podcast episodes, but you're seeing grad school applicants being not just in the interview process, but being in a group setting, because not just employers, but faculty members and college representatives want to know that not only that you can work well by yourself, but with others too, because in your chosen career path, you're going to be working a lot with others. So that's crucial. So in terms of informational interviews, or just interviews in general, conversations with professionals, just helping students with careers, like what are you looking to get into, and educational pathways, and so I think this is important because it puts more emphasis on the job itself or the career path that you want to get into, and so this could be, yeah,
What's one question, and I think we kind of know the answer. What's one question that jams people up, whether you're high school, whether you're in the workforce for a long time, during an interview, that one question, what is it?
Well, there are a couple, but I always say the first one is, what are your weaknesses?
Yes.
Right? So,
Yes. And tell me about yourself.
Right. And so we're like deer in headlights. Well, I don't have any weaknesses, and so I tell students all the time, hey, and I get it, I probably would have said the same thing way back as a 17-year-old, but it's important to say we all have weaknesses, and employers, and whether it's college admissions, that whatever it is, organizations, they don't want to know, like, hey, they don't want to have you downgrade yourself. They actually want to know how you turn that weakness into a strength.
But no matter what answer you give,
for you to elaborate. Yeah.
But whatever answer is given, it's a coin toss. Let's call it what it is. It's a coin toss because that person interviewing you has their own set of thoughts
Absolutely.
and perceptions,
Absolutely.
right? So
Yep.
if you gave that same answer to 10 different employers,
Right.
they're gonna interpret you 10 different ways.
Yep.
And that's not a
Absolutely.
question you can
Yeah.
really practice, Jay. Can
Right.
you?
Right.
Maybe.
Well, you can. I mean, we do mock interviews, and so it does hold value. And once again, I didn't learn this until I was actually in college, because I never thought I'd get a question like that. Geez, what are your weaknesses? Tell us about yourself, and things like that. You learn through the process, and sometimes that's a good thing. You learn the hard way. And so, in saying that, I've learned the value of just being in the coaching field as well. Just learning, hey, we all have weaknesses, but the employer or the organization wants to know really how you plan on turning those weaknesses into strengths. And so that's the big part. And I think that holds more value than anything is,
I don't
hey,
know,
you know
Jay.
what?
I don't like that
No one's
question.
perfect, right?
I don't like that question.
Right. Oh, yeah. So I always tell students, be prepared for that one question. If that question isn't asked, well, either they forgot about it or it really doesn't mean a whole lot to them. But
Here's why I don't like it.
Yep.
Straight up. I think in part sometimes it could be an excuse or a filler for that employer, that hiring manager, that hiring
Right.
person,
Yeah.
to kill time because they're coming to a wall.
Right.
And they want you just to ramble and see how
Yep.
that goes. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, all this is tied into our conversation, Jay, just for those who are zipping in, coming out. Decide or to the best of your ability what you kind of want to do sort of in life before you go to college. It's cool, not really. Switching majors a couple times, although there's
Right.
benefits. But that financial meter can keep on going for a while if you keep switching majors, right?
Right. Right. Oh,
Whichever
absolutely.
one. Let's talk about the exploring technical and trade careers. Whole different
Yeah.
animal of college.
Yeah. So this is and really, to be honest with you, this is where the industry is really booming. A lot of students are realizing, well, instead of going to college, instead of going that way, I'm going to go into being an electrician or a plumber, HVAC, whatever the case may be, welding. Even though a lot of schools now are doing welding certificates, things like that. Maybe it's culinary arts, which you can obviously go to college for. And so construction, whatever the case may be. And so a lot of students are realizing, well, instead of spending a ton of money, on something maybe I don't know what I want to do yet because everyone's doing it, I'll just go to college, maybe do the trade route and see how far that gets me without spending really any money. Now, some of these trade fields, you might have to spend a little bit here and there, but job stability, maybe it's the strong earning potential or the fact that, you have family members that are in the field that suggest it. And so I never went that route. I'm not saying other students shouldn't. I understand, hey, if it's there and it makes you happy, I always say at the end of the day, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're happy in your job, that's all that matters, right?
Let me ask you a question, because our perception, not ours, but in general, the
Right.
trades, right? That's the electrician, the plumber,
Right.
so on
Right.
and so forth.
We
But
need
I
'em.
think that the term trade is misunderstood. So my question to you is, what other quote trade jobs are there that are not as physically demanding?
Right. That's a great, yeah. So the one thing that we've been adding at our institution, a lot of institutions, are certificates like in cybersecurity, which you can go to college for, but you can also do that on your own. Culinary arts is the same, is less demanding. I mean, it's rewarding. It's just less demanding than maybe electrician, in terms of physical labor. Aviation, maintenance, things like that. But cybersecurity is a big one, just because a lot of students are looking to go that route in cybersecurity, and because of the day and age of technology that we have today. So medical technology is another big one. I mean, you can go to college for that as well, but
I'm gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh real quick when I say this.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me that they want to go to college because they don't want to work that hard.
Right. Right. I get that too. Yeah, it makes you think, definitely. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna, I understand why they want to go, you know, in a sense, because you want to better yourself, but trades like this, you can make a great living doing, you know,
Now we
as
have
well.
Johnny Belize, who is in our
Yeah.
live now. He's a
Yeah.
retired, just retired
Yeah.
from the police department.
Yeah.
Hope he still is here. Hey, John. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I didn't go in the you know, in trades, but I have some family members that have and have been successful, and they enjoy it and they're happy, you know. And so, but we still, I know here at Leeds College Prep, we still encourage that. We still guide students along the path, especially you know, sophomore, junior, senior year. You don't really know what you want to do. We don't just say, hey, still go to college and waste a ton of money, even if you don't want to do. No, we kind of we guide you and ask about your passion. Well, if it is trade, we want you to get there. You know, we help with that as well. And so, so I think that's very important. At the end of the day, you're happy with what you're doing. You know, and if
Right.
that means
Right.
going to college and spending $60,000, $80,000, or maybe not, maybe you're on scholarship, or if that means going the trade route, whatever it makes you happy at the end of the day is what
Yeah.
what I care
Hey,
about.
did you ever? What's the latest number? How many job changes does the average person? I'm not expecting that specifically, but
Right.
have over the course of the career. I heard like the last time I checked in about this was 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, and that's I've heard the same around there too. But that and just to piggyback off that, I guess technically a job change or some move within a company. So they go up, they advance, you know, professionally within the company. So I guess technically we could call that a job change, it's a promotion, obviously. And so that's always a great thing to, you know, to move up. We all want promotions, you know, move up a company, you know, within a company. Others, yeah, sometimes it's moving out of that company and going a totally different direction in terms of a different field itself. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure the data could be skewed different ways, right?
Right.
Data can always be manipulated.
Right.
All right, Jay, let's kind of wind down a little bit here. Career awareness improves college decision making, especially the return on investment, right? Let's go back a couple steps back.
Yep.
As you're trying to figure out what you want to do, and the thing is, 17 or 18-year-old, right, doesn't know exactly what they want to do. But at some point, in my opinion, you need to see what that dollar value is or is going to be your investment with college versus what you think you want to do, right? I don't want to name any specific degree programs,
Right.
but there are
Right.
some that are really loosey goosey.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then,
that's a
you
great
know,
point. Yeah.
is it going to be worth it? I don't know. So I guess my
Right.
point to you, Jay, or question to you is, as we sum it up, how does one put those two together as best as they can, and with the parents' help?
Yeah. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so from junior, senior in high school to the path of college, circle the price tag around the college that you choose. How does that work? Like, if
Yeah.
you were, go ahead.
It takes time. That's a great point. I never did that. I wish I did. I mean, I'm glad I'm at where I'm at now, and I know we discussed this, but I actually had a conversation right before graduation a couple weeks ago with a student, and I had them since they were a freshman. So it was really cool to go through this, and they were asking the same thing. They're actually very happy because they're going into a job industry, a specific industry that is growing fast. Their salary, they already accepted a job position. Their salary will obviously be enough to take care of their loans. They don't have a ton of loans, and so be able to do that and live on their own. Now that to me is a great ROI, return on investment, and so in saying that, that's not the case for everyone. I wish it was, and so they were able to look at, all right, this is where, as a freshman, and this is mature as a 18-year-old freshman, incoming freshman, this is where I want to be when I'm a 22-year-old entering the job market, right? This is how much I'm going to be. This is how much I'm going to owe in loans. Okay. Will my job take care of that by the time I'm a 22-year-old? And so, and in fact, it has. And so, obviously, ideally, that would be the situation. Ideal situation for everyone is, hey, you know what? By the time I graduate, not only do I have a job lined up, but it's a job that pays well, and takes care of the loans that I have left, because students, hey, not to shock anyone, but yes, if you have student loans, you will have to start paying on those unless you consider grad school, where they can be paused. And so, and the cool part is his organization will take care of tuition reimbursement. So if he were to decide to go to grad school, most of it will be paid for. So that it's a great incentive. Now, like I said, that's not a case for everyone, but being able to, and we have a package here at Elite Scholars Prep where we go over that. And so students, while they're a freshman, now not every freshman's going to understand, hey, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Because that's a shock question in itself. And some do, though. But by the time I'm a senior, and it goes fast, as you know, 4 years, where will I be? And most importantly, will my degree give me that return on investment that I'm looking for? And most importantly, will it allow me to then pay off my loans and live on my own?
Right. All right. So Jay, you hit the nail on the head. In our final comments, the return on investment, what you want to do, because to your point, right? Let's just role play here. When you graduate college, assuming you have loans, typically you don't have to start paying them back for 6 months, right? Typical. Yep. Typically, then thereafter they can run for 10 years. Now,
exactly.
If parents in the mix co-sign, if not, somebody's on the hook to have that installment paid for the next 10 years. And I see a lot of it. I'm sure you do. Well, mom, dad, or the default, I can't pay for it because I don't have the job I wanted. I need the apartment. I need the car. Now I'm a mom with somebody. I might get married. Whatever.
Yep. Life happens.
It snowballs, right?
Yep.
Crazy. All right, Jay, with all this said, let's just wrap it up and tie it in to the best of your ability, everybody. Plan, figure out, try to what career you want to pursue after college. The more questions you ask, the better off you're going to be. Ask your guidance counselors, ask your parents. More importantly, the expert, Jay, is the expert. Jay, Elite Scholars Prep. We can't leave without showcasing all the great things that you do. I know it personally, so tell us, Jay.
Yeah, well, first, it's been an honor. I can't wait to do more of these, and so with the audience. But EliteScholarsPrep.com is our website. You guys can check out what we offer. We offer 16 educational services, 8 one-on-one coaching services. We're adding more. We're adding courses, so we're excited about that. So that's the big news there. And so we offer a wide range of services, from obviously college readiness to tutoring in all subjects, to college boot camp, to one-on-one writing. So we offer everything. So go on the website, check it out. You can set up a free consultation, a 30-minute free consultation, and we'll schedule the consultation and review the services that fit your needs or your child's needs the best. And most importantly, we will get you on your path to success. And so we're super excited. We've grown, and it's really great to, most importantly, help families out and see that success of their student. Yep,
EliteScholarsPrep.com. Jay, you and I have worked together in a couple different capacities, and I just think that you're a great guy in what you do, and you're genuine, and you listen to people above and beyond what parents or school administrators can provide, and they're all great resources. But
right.
You definitely nailed on the head in terms of what you do, and you don't fluff around, right? But you are helpful at the same time.
Yeah, school administrators can only do so much, and I get it. They have their responsibilities, and so that's why I wanted to create a business like this where we can step in and we can provide those services, for students. And a lot of times I just had to ask myself where I was at those different situations. And I love my guidance counselors. They were great. It's just they can't do everything. And so that's where we can kind of come in and we can help those families succeed and offer those services. And so we're excited. It's been a pleasure talking today and looking forward to future conversations.
Yeah. All right, everybody, get out there, get some internships, figure it out, talk to people, right? It's called communication.
Absolutely. And message me and or Dr. Tom, and we'll go forward.
Okay. All right, Jay, till next time.
All right. Thanks again. Bye-bye.